Fewer and fewer home showings have been occurring each week right across the GTA. Since March 3rd, new listings are trending upwards on a weekly basis, but according to Broker Bay, the number of showings that are being booked have been trending in the opposite direction. This is having an impact on the numbers, and we're going to dive into all of that in today's video. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Rob Marsiglio, sales representative with Keller Williams Referred Urban out here in Durham region, helping the great people of this part of the province and doing my best to bring you weekly content on this channel covering all things Greater Toronto Area real estate. If you are somebody who enjoys deep dives into the numbers, looking at what is happening with trends, this might be the channel for you. So please like this video if you enjoy it and consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss anything going forward. In this video, I'm going to update you on what is happening with showing activity on a weekly basis relative to new listings across the GTA. How's that translating into sales activity, and what does it all mean for active inventory? I've been touching on it a lot lately. Different markets surpassing the 2023 peaks that we saw in October. But this week, in this video, we're going to touch on a 10-year high in active listings. So stick with me right to the end of the video for that one. As promised, let's start off with our weekly showings and our weekly new listings. So this red line is the weekly new listings that's pulled from the Toronto MLS directly, and the black line is pulled from Broker Bay, a system that the majority of agents use across the GTA when it comes to booking showings and making offers. I highlighted March 3rd because that is when we actually saw showings peak. We had just over 55,000 showings booked for the week starting March 3rd, according to Broker Bay. That again has trended downwards, maybe a little bit more steady through April, but then maybe a bit more of a definite downtrend, really highlighted by the long weekend in May. So we've gone from 55,000 down to just under 43,000 showings booked on a weekly basis, whereas new listings on a weekly basis, it's been a really steady climb with the exception of this March break fall off that we saw. We've gone from about 3,200 new listings up to 4,400 new listings entered in the system last week. Again, leading up to the long weekend, it was a bit slower week, but we expect to see this number maybe bounce back just a little bit in the coming days. Now, when you throw all those numbers together, it gives you this ratio, our weekly showings per new listing. You can see on March 3rd, we were just shy of 17 showings per new listing, had a bit of a bump up before a big fall off. And then again, this March break as a result of very few listings and kind of relatively sustained showing activity. We saw the numbers spike, but it's continued to fall off ever since. To clarify that graph, it's not saying that you're going to get 11 showings on a new listing in a given week for sure. This is just a ratio comparing showings booked from one system to the new listings entered into another system. Not every single brokerage uses Broker Bay, but it does capture the majority of the market. And really, I think really does give us a good trend as to kind of the temperature, the appetite of buyers in the market currently. Before we continue with this video, I need to hear from you in the comments below. Nothing to do with real estate here. My personal stylist, aka my wife, told me that this shirt looks like a pajama shirt. What do you think? Pajama shirt? Can I wear it in another video? I've worn it in the past. Will this be the last video that I wear this shirt? Let me know in the comments below. Back to this chart to highlight one point. I said we were pretty steady in terms of showings booked from this peak that we saw in March, that week starting March 3rd, to really the week starting, let's call it April 14th, April 21st. We saw a bit more of a definite fall off as we got into May. And sales activity has really reflected that change in showing activity. In April through 22 days, we saw 5,100 sales reported on the Toronto MLS. In May so far through 22 days, we're at about 4,700 sales reported. So we're actually starting to see sales turn over a little bit. And if you've tuned into this channel frequently, you know that that is a trend that is a little bit out of the norm. Our black and red dotted lines are our average and median kind of reported sales to give us a bit of a trend of what a normal year looks like. You can see that things normally peak in May. This year, we were seeing that roll over a month earlier, going from that roughly 7,100 sales is what we had last year reported as per Market Watch. And we're projected, this is a projection based on what's been entered in the MLS so far, to end up just shy of 6,800 sales in May of 2024. Now, seeing a rollover in sales from April to May is something that we have seen in actually 3 of the last 4 years. But if you go back historically, it's something that's happened much less frequently than that. And that's why I put this chart together comparing sales reported in April as per the Toronto MLS. It's the red bar to this gray bar, which is sales reported in May. And you can see that prior to 2024, where we were on track to do it yet again, it was 2022 and 2021. That would make it 3 out of the last 4 years. You'd have to go back to 2017 for the time prior that we saw sales roll over from April to May, then go back to 2010 for the time prior to that. But every other year, so with the exception of these 5 years going back to 2008, we do see sales typically increase from April into May. So showings totals, offers totals, the number of sales being reported is kind of a good gauge of buyer sentiment, maybe even affordability constraints. We're seeing sales suppressed, a lot of that. We've talked about there's always going to be demand in the GTA for real estate, but it's that affordability piece that is really constraining people. Again, though, if sales are down and listings are down an equal amount, inventory shouldn't change too much. So let's take a look at what is happening with new listings in May of 2024 so far and kind of project where they will be come month's end. And that's what this orange line is. Again, black and red lines are the median and average number of new listings entered as per MarketWatch, giving us the trend. You can see, again, those usually peak in May as well. And we are right on track to kind of follow that pattern in 2024. The actual number of new listings is following this trend line much more nicely. Not sure if it's going to roll over in June. We'll have to wait to see once we get into the June numbers next month. Follow along for more of those videos, obviously, but will things roll over at that point? But as we can see right now, just over 18,000 new listings, what we're projecting for May of 2024, right around in line with what we'd expect to see at this time of year. So we are starting to see that divergence, listings really following trend, new listings that is, in terms of peaking in May, maybe going to increase more in June. We'll have to wait to see what happens there. But sales definitely rolling over, and a big gap between what we'd normally see at this time of year compared to what we were actually seeing in 2024. You put 2 and 2 together in this case, and it's going to speak to some big jumps in active inventory. As Hanif Bayat pointed out on May 22nd, 2024, the GTA home inventory hit a 10-year high. There were over 21,000 condos and freeholds for sale, so active listings across the GTA. He's given some reasons as to why he thinks that has happened here. You can pause the video to read that for more, but I did put a chart together to kind of illustrate what Hanif was seeing. This chart looks at active listings as reported in the TREB MarketWatch report in every month. This goes back to January of 2010, my chart. The May 2024 number that we see here is as per May 22nd on the Toronto MLS. There was 21,089 active listings. That's higher than the previous peaks we saw in May 2018, which was 20,919, and May 2014, which was 20,679. Not quite as high as the peak that we saw in May 2013, which was 22,677. A bit of a caveat with that chart is that the TREB MarketWatch data, the active listings portion, is based on the number of active listings in the system at the end of any given month. And I haven't been successful in finding the exact formula they use to kind of account for expiries and terminations, because the number doesn't always 100% match up with what I am seeing at the end of any given month, what they're reporting on the TREB MarketWatch report. So it goes to say that we may have hit a higher peak in May 2018 or 2014 at some point in that month before all the adjustments were made and a bunch of listings came off. But still, it's a pretty significant number of listings that we have right now, at least relative to recent history, relative to the last 14 years. To wrap up what's happening with active inventory, I want to take a look at what's happening month over month and year over year. So you can see compared to April 2024, end of month, we were up about 16.6%. As of May 22nd, 2024, if we go all the way back to the end of May 2023, we're up 77.7% year over year. So significant year over year jump in active listings. In terms of the month over month jump, it's still pretty significant. We did see a 45% jump from the end of March to the end of April. So that was truly a huge jump that we did see. This isn't quite as big, but still pretty big for this time of year. How's that all shaking down and affecting prices? Really, prices are pretty flat still. We're starting to see the median price maybe trend downwards in the Toronto condo market and York region as a whole, but every other market that I've been monitoring has been kind of still slowly trending upwards or holding pretty flat. Make sure to follow me over on X, where I will update a kind of up-to-date weekly price chart as to what is happening with median prices in each geographic market of the Greater Toronto Area. Okay, I hope you got some value out of this week's video. Like I said, if you did, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I do something like this, a deep dive into trends and numbers that I am seeing every single week to keep you informed in making your home buying or home selling decisions or home renting decisions, whatever that looks like. But again, thank you so much for sticking with me right through to the end of another video. Till we speak again next time, please stay safe and cheers.